Hi, welcome to another Tidbits in Time video. In today's video I'm going to be demonstrating how to make these coffee filter flowers. I have two different sizes. This is the large size and this is the small size. To get started with this project you will want 6 coffee filters. You will want I am using Glimmer Mist, but whatever spray you have to color the filters. You will want some wire to wrap your flower together to keep it in one place, and you will want your scissors. Okay, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make the small flowers. They have one additional step. The large flowers you make the same way, you just don't cut your coffee filter smaller. So to make the small flowers, I usually take my filter and trim it down to the size of the bottom of the filter here. And that seems to be a pretty good size for the small flower. And the small flower will work better if you're putting it on a card or a scrapbook page. So I take all 6 filters and I cut them down to the size of the bottom of the coffee filter. For these flowers I'm using a pinking shears, which will give your flowers, an extra edge to them. You don't have to, you can just use a regular scissors. Okay, the next step in this project, if you're making the small flowers, after you have them all cut out, is to spray them. Now if you are making the large flowers, you wouldn't cut them, you'll just skip right to spraying them. And I forgot to mention earlier that you'll want to use your craft sheet or put a piece of newspaper under you as you're working, because it is very messy. And I typically use 2 to 3 different colors to make these flowers. The different colors add additional visual interest to the flower when it's finished. So the very first thing you want to do is spray your flower. I'm going to start with the lighter color and then go to the darker color. Okay, and you'll spray your coffee filter and get it kind of soaking wet. And again, this is messy, so if you don't want your hands dirty, you can use gloves. Okay, and after you have it sprayed, this is kind of the messy part. What you'll do is just crunch it up in your hand, so it makes kind of a wrinkled mess. And you'll do this all 6 times. After you have all 6 of your filters sprayed and wrinkled up, this is when I take my heat gun, and I forgot to mention earlier that you need this, but this is when I take my heat gun and I dry them. It just speeds the whole process up. And as you start to dry them, you'll kind of see that they'll hold the wrinkles together. It is surprising how resilient the coffee filters are. You can scrunch them quite a bit and they don't tear. They're actually really nice to work with. They keep their shape very well. As I'm drying them, you can kind of see that I continue to scrunch the flowers in my hand. Because the more wrinkled they are, the more vintage and interesting they look at the end. Okay, the next step to make the flowers, what you'll want to do is take the pile of scrunched up petals, I guess, and then you can spread them back out in a circle and pick it up in the center and then twist it. And you can set them aside or you can hold them in your hand. So again, you'll spread your coffee filter back out, pick it up in the center, and then twist it up. And that bottom twist is where you're going to wrap the wire around, and that will form your flower. So you'll do this all 6 times. Then you can start shaping your flower. So you'll take one and then kind of build your flower out around the one, trying a little bit to leave one in the center, and that will form the centerpiece of your flower. So you kind of build out around that center flower. Oops. Okay, so after you have all that done, you'll want to make sure you have enough room at the bottom to wrap your wire around, and that will hold your flower together. So then what you'll do is take your craft wire and just wrap that around the base of your flower, and this helps to hold it together. I also think here, and I don't have any with me right now, but I also think you could use floral tape, and that would give the bottom of your flower that green, which, you know, might look kind of neat. So after you have it wrapped, then you can cut off the end of your wire. And that does a really good job of holding the flower together. So then you can play with it a little bit, spread the petals out, and the last step, it'll still be kind of wet from the ink that you sprayed on it. The last step is just to heat it back up with your heat gun until it's fairly dry. Okay, and here is our flower at the very end. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more tutorials, visit www.tidbitsintime.com.